Hello my dear students, once again welcome to your online class. So today we will be continuing with the chapter of electrolysis of your chemistry textbook. So in the last class we already discussed about what is electrolysis and the different terms related to the process of electrolysis. So we also learned that during the process of electrolysis the cation it migrates towards the cathode and the anion it migrates towards the anode. So today we will be learning about the electrolysis of some of the compounds like lead bromide, acidified water, aqueous solution of copper, and we will also be studying about the application of electrolysis in case of electroplating and electrorefining. So now coming to the electrolysis of a molten lead bromide. So what is done? So a crucible vessel is taken which is made out of silica. Okay, so this is made out of silica. So why made out of silica? A question comes. It is made out of silica because the silica it has a high melting point, and also the lead bromide its melting point is very high. So it must be heated above 280 degrees centigrade so that it may remain in a molten state. So to withstand that high temperature, a silica vessel is taken. Okay, and then we have here a lead bromide, that is PbBr2, which is constantly heated, okay, with the external source so that it remains in a molten state, and two graphite electrode is used. So what are they? So these electrodes are made out of, both the electrodes they are made out of graphite. So another question here, why it is made out of graphite? Because graphite is an inert electrode. Okay, so if instead of graphite, if other active electrodes are used, what will happen? So this bromine vapor, it will attack the metal, but the graphite being inert, it does not react even with the bromine as well. So now it is connected to the battery. Okay, so now when the electricity is passed through the molten lead bromide, what happens? This lead bromide it breaks into the lead ion and a bromine ion. Okay, so this PbBr2 when heated around 380 degrees centigrade and in the presence of electricity, what happens? It breaks into Pb2 plus Br minus. Okay, so it breaks into a cation, which is a, here in this case it is a lead, and then anion Br. So we already know that the cation it will migrate towards the cathode, okay, and anion it will migrate towards the anode. So at cathode, so cathode is a negative terminal. Negative terminal means it has an axis of electrons. So this Pb2 plus, now 2 plus it denotes that there is a deficiency of 2 electrons. So what happened? This lead ion it will migrate towards the cathode and it will gain 2 electron and get deposited as Pb, that is lead. Okay, so it will gain 2 electrons. Now similarly this bromine at the anode side, what reaction will take place? So at anode that Br minus means it has an axis of 1 electron, so it will donate 1 electron to the anode and then it will get deposited as Br, okay, bromine. So this bromine it reacts with another atom of bromine to form a bromine gas, okay, the molecule of bromine, and then this will be evolved at the anode side. So if this is the positive, so you will see at the anode side a brown fume will appear. So this brown fume is a fume of bromine. Okay, so this is how the process of electrolysis takes place in case of molten lead bromide. So what is important for you to remember here is the reasons. Okay, like why it is the crucible vessel is made out of silica. It is made out of silica to withstand the high pressure. Another question may come, why the electrodes are made out of graphite. So you may say, since the graphite is inert electrode, so it is not attacked by the bromine vessel. Okay, bromine, not bromine gas. Okay, another question, what do you observe at the cathode and the anode? So you can write this reaction at the cathode will start growing thicker because of the deposition of the lead there. And in the anode side, the brown fume will appear, which is the fume of bromine gas. Okay, so these are the things to be remembered in case of electrolysis of a molten lead bromide. So now I'll explain you one more for the acidified water and the aqueous. You read it from your book itself and try to understand, and if you do not understand you can ask me in my WhatsApp number. So let us do for a acidified water. So now in case of the electrolysis of water, we know that the pure water is a poor conductor of electricity. So in order to make it a good conductor of electricity, a small amount of sulfuric acid is added to the water so that it may become a good conductor. And now the electrolysis of a water is carried out in a special kind of voltameter that is known as a Hofmann's voltameter. So it somewhat looks like this. Okay, so in the middle we have a gas, and then okay, so we have something vessel of kind like this. Okay, inside we have two electrodes. Okay, so here I have two electrodes, okay, which is connected to the battery. So this is the positive anode, this one is the negative. So through this, what we do, we continuously the water is added, because the water, it breaks into the hydrogen and oxygen. So the amount of water in this vessel will continuously decrease, so that's why the water is continuously, acidified water is poured here. Okay, so now what happens? So if initially is it filled, this Hofmann's voltameter is filled with water. Now as soon as the electric current is passed, so what is present here? So we have two things. One is we have water, and also we have a sulfuric acid, H2SO4. So when the electric current passes, so water also dissociates and the sulfuric acid also dissociates as follows. Like the water, when the electric current is passed, what happens? It breaks into the H plus OH minus ion. And also the sulfuric acid, H2SO4, when the electric current is passed, it also breaks into H plus SO4 2 minus ion. Okay, so now we see that, so that now what are the ions present? So the ions present are, we have H plus ion, okay, we have OH minus ion, and we have SO4 2 minus ion also. Now we have two negative ion. Okay, but we know that during the process of electrolysis, only one of the ion can migrate towards any one of the electrode. So out of these OH minus and SO2 minus, so which one will migrate? So again you have to go back to the electrochemical series of anion. So we see that the OH minus is in the lower position than the SO4 minus. So as we move down, the tendency or the chances of getting that the chances of getting deposited at the anode increases. So in the series, the OH is below SO4 minus. So out of these two, what will happen? Only OH minus will go and get deposited towards the anode side. So now coming to the reaction at the cathode. So we don't have to worry about the cathode, because there is only one positive ion, that is a H plus ion. So this H plus ion, what happens? It migrates towards the cathode. It will gain one electron, and then it becomes the hydrogen atom H. So similarly another hydrogen comes, and then it forms a H2. So what will you see at the cathode side? That is the negative terminal. So small bubbles will appear, which is the bubbles of hydrogen gas. Now in the same time, okay, what happens at the anode side? What reaction takes place? So at the anode, out of these two ions, since OH minus is lower in the series of the electrochemical series of anion, so this OH minus means having an axis of electron. Okay, it will go and lose one electron to the anode, and then it becomes OH. Okay, so similarly another molecule of OH form will combine with another OH, and then it gives H2O plus O. Now similarly another oxygen form in the same way, it combines with another oxygen atom to form a molecule of oxygen. So you will also see the molecules, the water bubbles, the air bubbles coming out towards the anode side, which is a oxygen. Okay, so this is how the electrolysis of a water is carried out to produce oxygen and the hydrogen gas simultaneously. Okay, so there is one more example which is there in the reduced syllabus, that is the electrolysis of an aqueous copper sulfate solution using only the copper electrode. Okay, using only the copper electrode. We have two there, one using the platinum and the other using a copper. So now we have to study only for the copper electrode. So I hope you have understood how the process of electrolysis is carried out. So the things to be remembered here are the reasons why such kind of vessels are used, why temperature or heating is required, okay, why sometimes inert and sometimes passive electrodes are used, and then the main reactions, the ions present, the reaction at the cathode and the reaction at the anode. So these are the things that you have to remember for all of these 3 examples. Okay. So in the next class, we'll be learning in details about the application of electrolysis. So basically, the electrolysis plays a very important role in electroplating. Okay, so what is the electroplating? So electroplating is a process in which expensive metal is coated over a cheap metal. Okay, in market which we find as like a gold plated or a silver plated. And electro refining, this is the process of refining the elements. Okay, like few elements, few metals like copper, which is used for making the wires, they are always required in a pure state so that the resistivity will be as low as possible. So in that case, using the process of electrolysis, we can refine the metal. Okay, so in details, we'll be learning about the electroplating and electro refining in the next video. So till then, you go through all the videos of electrolysis till date so that it will be easier for you to understand the electroplating and the electro refining in the next video. Thank you.